Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome, everyone. Recently bought a bunch of collections, and I'm in the process of sorting them now. And I thought, maybe I'll just set up a camera, press play, and let people watch me sort here a little bit. I don't know if people find that interesting or not, but yeah, we'll talk about some of the cards as I go. This is sort of the second round of the sorting process for me. These are a bunch of different collections sort of merged into a few boxes here, and it's already been gone through once. I pulled out anything vintage, and I pulled out anything really, really cheap or commons and stuff. And now I'm going through the second patch. So you can see there was a Ken Griffey Jr. Insert that I just put into a top loader and put into a $5 bin. Here's a Ray Allen Bowman's Best rookie that's going into the $2 bin. So the first three stacks down at the bottom, those I'm going to sell at card shows. I have a $1, a $2, and a $5 box. The $1 I leave unsleeved. The $2 I make sure are sleeved, and the $5 go into top loaders, and that's just how I do it. But yeah, here's like a bunch of inserts from the 90s. That's a Chris Warren, I think 1996 Leaf. I don't know, but it's got like a grass field to it. Here's a Steve Young insert. I'm going to put that into a pile. The pile I just put that Steve Young into are cards that I'm not sure, so I'm going to have to look that up. There's a Terrell Davis insert, which will go into the $1 box, the dollar bin at my card show when I set up at the show. Nolan Arenado, Bowman Chrome, first Bowman Chrome card. That goes to the COMC pile. That pile is cards that I expect to get more than $5 for. And so those I'm going to send to COMC. Here's a Roberto Alomar insert from, I think, 97 Pinnacle. I forget what it's called, but it's like Pinnacle Impressions or something like that. Again, I have to look that up because I'm not familiar with how much it might be worth. Here's a gold label insert of, who is this? I think it's Rod Smith, and that's just going into the dollar bin. And I don't know off the top of my head the values of all these cards, but I can sort of make a general guess, and I'm usually right. There'll be some that are too high, some that are too low, but it's generally pretty close. Here's a Wilson Ramos orange wave refractor out of 25. So that's a card I expect to get more than $5 for. It goes to COMC. Here's a blue refractor auto Topps Chrome of basically a common. So autographs I make sort of a separate pile because autographs I like to sell in lots because they sell kind of better in lots. I mean, I could put this in a $2 box or the $5 box, but I'm going to make an autograph pile. And ultimately, whenever I've accumulated enough sort of common autographs, I'll sell that as just one big lot. I found that works really well. Here's a Nick Bosa honeycomb prism from Mosaic. I think that's a sort of one of the rare prism parallels. So that'll go to COMC. Here's a Tom Brady silver prism, also from Mosaic. This actually could probably go in the $5 bin. But I don't know. I don't know what this goes for, but it's probably around $5, so that could go to the $5 bin or to COMC. I'm going to go with COMC on this one. Here's some Luka Doncic prisms from Mosaic. It looks like we got a couple of orange prisms and pink. I don't know the names of these at this point. There's so many of them, but these can probably go in the $5 bin. That might be a little high, but I'm probably going to put these into the $5 bin. This one needs a new top loader because the top loader is in was really old and gross. Edgar Martinez and Carlos Beltran, those look like sort of, not particularly expensive inserts from the 90s. Those will go into the dollar bin. And here's a Juan Soto rookie, 2018 Topps Archives, and that's gonna probably fetch more than $5. So that will go to COMC. And anytime I send any card to COMC, I always put it in a penny sleeve, which I'm not sure is actually necessary. I don't know if they require it or not, but I don't think they do. But yeah, I just feel more comfortable putting them all in penny sleeves. Here's a Shohei Ohtani rookie, 2018 Diamond Kings, and this is a card that's a great grading potential. This, if it comes back at 10, there'll be some upside there. A 9, if it has no chance at a 10, I definitely would not send it in. But looking at it over, I don't see any issues with it. So I think this is a card I'm going to actually send to PSA. Again, if it comes back at 10, there'll be sort of a nice little bump in value. If it comes back at 9, it'll probably be a break even or so. So assuming I didn't miss something there, no real risk. Cards going to PSA have to go in semi-rigids, as you see there. So that will be my send to PSA pile, and that's something I'll sort of go back over again before sending them in. In this pass here, I'll make those piles there. That was an orange refractor out of 25 of a common going to in the $5 pile. Here's a jersey card of Edgar Alfonzo, who's not a notable name, but it's a nice 4-color patch. So I'm going to send that to COMC, even though it's just like a common patch card, but it's a really nice patch. And those were back in like the mid 2000s when they actually, the patches actually meant something. They were actually game worn. So that should fetch more than $5, even though it's a common here. Here's a Dan Marino insert that is not worth anything. I'm familiar with that, so that's going to go into the dollar bin. Topps Record Breakers is what it's called there. Here's a card of my boy Cal Ripken. It's a Diamond Destiny from Upper Deck. I think it's 96 or 97. And this is actually a gold parallel. The regular card's not worth very much, like $1 or something, but the gold parallel I think is worth quite a bit. So we're gonna have to look that one up for later. SPX for it's Jerry Rice. It's a really cool looking set. I think it's 1997. That one might be a gold parallel as well. So we're gonna have to put the Jerry Rice in the to be researched further category. Topps Gold label. I think this is from 2001, and it's JD Drew, and it's serial numbered out of 500. So yeah, we'll put that in the $2 box. That seems about right. Here's a Giannis Antetokounmpo green prism from I think it's 2019. We'll put that in the $5 bin. Here's a cool insert from football that a lot of these 90s football inserts have been completely forgotten. This is like I don't know what it's called, but it has like an insert inside an insert, if you will. The card you can like pull out this little football card. This is Randall Cunningham. And yeah, you can, it's going to like 2 cards in one, but I don't even know what it's called. But it's a cool insert. It's serial numbered out of 1500. It's not really worth a whole lot, maybe a couple bucks. Although I could send it to COMC or put in the $2 box. Either of those sort of makes sense. It might be the only one on COMC, in which case you can price it higher than $2. But yeah, we're gonna do that. Send it to COMC and see what's going on with that. It's not a card you see very often. David Ortiz, 1998 UD3. These are all serial numbered, but it's serial numbered out of like 5,000. But it's actually a second year card of Ortiz. We'll put that in the $5 bin. Champ Bailey rookie, 1999 Topps Gold label. We'll put that in the $2 bin. Vintage card should have been sorted out already, but a Marshall Faulk rookie. This isn't worth much, but actually generally, cheaper rookies I put in a separate category because I like to make lots or use them for other things. Calvin Johnson rookie. We'll put that in the $5 bin. It's Upper Deck. Here's a Dan Marino insert I'm not familiar with, so we'll put that in the to be researched later category. Same with this Barry Sanders action-packed insert. I'm not familiar. I don't know if this is a $1 card, a $5 card, a $10 card, or even more potentially. Probably not more, but it could be any of those. A couple of in-person autos. We'll put that in a separate category. And the other categories you see there are piles of cards that like they don't. I'm going to do something else with them. Like there's a football category where I'll make player lots. There's a Dan Marino on top. There's a Hall of Famers lot. There's a Jerome Bettis on top there. And yeah, just some cards don't really fit. Here's a Electric Gold. This is from 1993 Upper Deck Special Edition Electric Gold. I think they were 1 per box, but we're going to put that into the COMC pile as a card we can set at a high price. Here's a Ken Griffey Jr. insert Leaf Bat Patrol from I think 1995. We'll put that in the $2 section. Metal insert from the 90s Platinum Portrait Alex Rodriguez. We'll put that in the to be researched category. Kobe Bryant rookie, 1996 Bowman's Best, and this is a good grading contender depending on how sharp it is. And looking it over, I do not see anything. There's a little surface thing, but it just came right off. So this is a great contender for grading. Back has no chipping anywhere. So this is a great card for PSA. As it could get a 10. A 10 would be a big bump, and even a 9 is probably a small bump. So that's a great grading contender there. And anytime you submit cards for grading, I always use semi-ridges. I think you have to use semi-ridges for some other companies, maybe not as a rule, but I always use Card Saver 1s. Those are the wider ones. Much very important to use Card Saver 1s and not Card Saver 2s. Much easier to get your card in and out. Here's a really nice Steve Carlton auto. I think it's 2005 Upper Deck Baseball Heroes, maybe. And it's serial numbered out of 49. And Steve Carlton, obviously an all-time great pitcher. This is not really a card that it makes a whole lot of sense to grade, but I'm sort of kind of talking myself into it because it's super sharp and good chance it's like a really low pop. It might even be a pop 1. Not a really, specifically high demand card, but if it's a pop 1, I think I can, set a nice high asking price and sit on it for a while and probably will ultimately get a nice sale out of it if it comes back a 10 or even potentially a 9. A couple of cards going in the dollar bin, and this card here I'm looking at, I actually don't even remember. I've added the voiceover after, but I don't remember when I went through the collection what that card was. But I put it in the COMC pile, so I guess it was a decent card. Here's an autograph of Miguel Cabrera on a sweet spot. I think it's 2005. And these are cool cards. They're the sweet spot of a baseball, and they sign that. But they're really, really thick, so they're not cards that are good to grade because they almost never have. They almost always have some sort of chipping, and they just don't grade very well. You can see it's a very, very thick card. And this one also does have some shipping, so not a grading contender. Even though Miguel Cabrera, that auto, that would potentially be a card to grade, but in this case, no. This is one that's probably $50 or more, so this is probably one I'll sell myself. Get a thick top loader for it. I'll sell this one myself. Won't send it to COMC, and that's actually the second card in the pile of sell by myself. This is a nice triple patch card of Falcons. You got Michael Penix Jr., Michael Vick, and Bijan Robinson, and it's numbered at I think 25. So those are two cards so far that I'm gonna sell myself either on eBay or maybe use an auction house, but more likely I'll sell it myself on eBay. Here's an Alan Trammell bat card. He's a Hall of Famer. It's from I think 2004, I want to say, and yeah, I had a little trouble getting it out of the top loader, but yeah, that'll go to COMC as that's clearly more than a $5 card. Michael Jordan 1993 Upper Deck triple double hologram. I believe that's well more than $5, but I'll put it in the to be researched later pile. 95 SP Michael Jordan, we'll put that in the $5 box. A couple of Michael Jordan that's not worth much. So that's going to go into a Michael Jordan lot at some point when I've accumulated enough sort of simple Michael Jordan cards. There's two not expensive Michael Jordan cards. Michael Jordan Star Quest. I think this is about $5, but I'm actually I was thinking, I was trying to debate if it should go in the $5 box, but ultimately decided to put in the research later pile. I did research later. It is about $5, so yeah. It ultimately went into the $5 pile. Lenny Moore autograph from Sports Illustrated. That's a cool set from I think 1999. Here's a Flair Showcase Legacy from 1999. They're numbered out of 99. This is Jeremy Giambi, and this is the Flair Legacies from the late 90s are very popular because it's one of the very first sort of really low serial numbered set. They were serial numbered to 100 or 99 every year, and so even commons like Jeremy Giambi have some value. And this card is super sharp. So this is a card I'm going to actually grade. It'll go off to PSA. And there won't be very many of them graded. It'll be a very, very low pop count. There's only 99 of them. He's a common, so it's not sort of in the average collector's, thought process to grade it. But there'll be, I don't know, 5, 10 on the pop report. And there'll be some set collectors and builders who really, really want that card. Here's a random Terrell Davis insert. This isn't worth much. I know this set, I forget what it's called, but it's Collector's Edge. But it's a cool looking card. Has some see-through aspects, so put it in the $2 pile. A lot of the 1990s football inserts just aren't worth a whole lot compared to the baseball and basketball counterparts. Not quite sure why that is. But yeah, here's a Drew Bledsoe out of 2,500. Here's a Warwick Dunn rookie insert. Both those go into the dollar pile. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly why that is. But yeah, a lot of the 90s football card values are they're just so low. They're just so low compared to basketball and baseball. There's a Chris Bosh rookie jersey going to COMC. Here's a Carmelo Anthony rookie year insert. Wasn't familiar with it, so we're gonna have to put that into be researched later pile. 89 donruss Ken Griffey Jr. rookie is an A-Rod going in the dollar bin, and the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie will go into the rookie piles. Is like I said, I like to accumulate key rookies that aren't worth a whole lot and sort of do something with them later. Speaking of rookies, there's a Larry Fitzgerald Upper Deck rookie. We're going to put that into the $5 bin. Andrew Luck, who doesn't have much weight in the hobby anymore. Rookie year insert $1. Going through more. Here's another jersey card of basically a common. I think it's Chad Henne for the Dolphins, but has a nice 3-color patch. So, a common jersey might be worth $1 or $2, but when it's a 3-color patch, I like sending it to COMC and pricing a little bit higher because, yeah, there are collectors out there who just like multicolor patches, even if it's on, with common players. Here's another example. Mike Cameron. It's a 2005 Zenith, I believe, with a 4-color patch. I mean, Mike Cameron, obviously a common, but it's a really nice 4-color patch. So that will have a chance of selling, more than $1 or $2. Here's a really cool card, which I've not seen before. 1999 Sports Illustrated autograph. Brooks Robinson, and I grew up an Orioles fan, so Brooks Robinson was before me, but I found this card to be really cool. It has a really nice image and auto, and I didn't realize at first. I thought it was a one touch, but it's actually a screw down because the screw is covered by the sticker. So I had to figure that out, and unscrew it here. But I found this card really cool for a couple reasons. One, I've never seen it before. It's from 1999 Sports Illustrated autograph. Which is an era I should definitely have seen cards here. I'll show a close up of the card, but definitely an era where I should recognize cards. But I just hadn't seen this one. It's numbered out of 500, so it's not that rare. I mean, it's not like super rare where I shouldn't have seen it, but I just I found it to be a really interesting card, and I'm gonna grade it. It's really really sharp. It had one slight nick in a corner, so it's not going to be a 10, but I imagine this is a really really low pop count card, and yeah, the type of thing I really like to grade. 19 this is a 2009 Topps Chrome refractor Yadier Molina. Not quite sure what that'll go for, so put that in the to be determined pile. Here's an interesting card. I think from 2006 score. It's Terrell Owens. It's a parallel, which I'm not even sure what the name of the parallel is, but the card's actually serial numbered out of 6, which, I mean, for a card from 2006 to be serial numbered out of 6, that's pretty rare. So this is another one I'm going to send off to PSA. I'm going to guess it'll be the first one ever graded. I didn't check the pop report, but I would bet it's the first one ever graded, if not maybe the second. But yeah, serial numbered out of 6. So that's kind of cool. And Terrell Owens, all-time great receiver, of course. So that's a nice card, which will be, you know, unique in a sense. More football cards from the 90s that aren't worth a whole lot. That's a Keyshawn Johnson insert, numbered I think 1500, going in the dollar bin. Here's a 1994 Upper Deck, Collector's Choice Gold Signature basketball common, going in the $2 bin. Those were 1 per box inserts. Topps Laser Frank Thomas. Those were really cool cards. Very interesting die cut images on those. Another Frank Thomas insert from the 90s. I think it was 1995 Emotion Masterclass or Masters. Yeah, Emotion Masters from either 94 or 95. I'm not sure, but that's going into the $2 bin. Here's some cheapos that don't make it into the dollar bin. Some Upper Deck heroes from the early 90s. These will go into a Hall of Fame lot that I'll make. Those are Willie Mays and some Ted Williams. And these cards aren't worth much. They're like maybe a quarter a piece. The Nolan Ryans I'll put into the player lots. I'll ultimately make a player lot of Nolan Ryan when I've accumulated enough Nolan Ryan. So he gets sort of his own category. But everyone else here will go into the well, there's another Nolan Ryan. But yeah, everyone else will go into the Hall of Famers. Eventually I'll make some large Hall of Famers lot, and all of these guys will go in there. Ted Williams, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron. Some good names there. So the Hall of Famer lots are not just, you know, the low-end Hall of Famers. Check out this card, Roberto Clemente. There's a 2005 UD Classics jersey, Roberto Clemente jersey. It had a dinged corner in the upper left. Not sure if you can see it in the video. So it's not a great grade, grading potential cards. Definitely not a 10, probably not a 9, probably looking at an 8. But I kind of talked myself into this one as well. I like grading stuff that's just really cool and is going to have really low pop. I don't know what the pop count is going to be on this, but I know it's going to be low. This isn't a card you see very often. There's, and it's probably not in people's first thought process to grade it, since it's a jersey card. But yeah, so I like sending in cards like this because I know it'll be a really low pop. And it's a Roberto Clemente jersey, so it's a very cool card. There's probably not really much upside in grading that, but it's almost more of like I want to, because I find it kind of enjoyable. Here's an insert of Brett Favre and Steve Young. I forget what it's called, but it goes in the $2 pile. And yeah, we'll sort of wrap up there, going through each of the piles real quick here. Some of the dollar cards, or they'll go into the dollar box that I make for my show. Here's some going into the $2 box for the next time I set up at a card show. And yeah, then I also have a $5 box. And again, the $1 are unsleeved, the $2 are sleeved, and the $5 cards go into top loaders. Just the way that I happen to do it. Here's some cards going to COMC. I expect to get more than $5 for each of these cards. And I tend to send cards up to around 20 or more to COMC. There are 2 cards in the batch we just went through that I'll sell myself because they're more expensive, probably $50 and up. And then the other categories, those are player lots for baseball, football, and basketball, Hall of Famers for baseball and football. Those are cards to be researched at a later date. Rookies that I'll use for lots. On the right there's a couple of common autographs and some 90s refractors, and then the cards here, obviously, that I'm going to send off to PSA. And yeah, just sort of a snapshot of me sorting some cards from some modern collections that I bought recently. And yeah, hope everybody enjoyed. Eat your vegetables, and see you all again next time. Thanks, everyone.